What's going on, Sumolings? Welcome to this Monday morning webinar. I'll give you guys a second to trickle in, come join us. So today we are joined by Rob and Kennedy from ResponseSuite. ResponseSuite puts your audience segmentation on autopilot with easy-to-use surveys, smart thank you redirects, and dozens of integrations. So thank you guys for joining us this morning.
Hey, it's really
Thanks
really
for having
good to
us.
be here. I'm excited.
It's evening. It's evening for us because we're in the future.
Oh wow! Okay, thank you for joining this evening.
Come from the future. It's nice.
It's going to be a lovely day.
It's going to be.
I can't wait. So before we dive into this, two pieces for our Sumolings joining us. One, there will be a replay sent out later, so if you miss anything or have to pop out early, got you taken care of. Next one, if you have any questions about ResponseSuite, well, Rob and Kennedy are going through the demo. You can pop those in the Q&A box below the video so we can circle back to those towards the end. But that is all I have from my end. So you guys, how did you get into this? How did ResponseSuite get started?
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing because we've been in the world of online marketing for more than 15 years now. And one of the things that we realized is getting the right message in front of the right people every time is the most important thing you can do to make your marketing campaigns do better. One of the biggest reasons, if you're like dissatisfied at all with when you send an email out, you're not making as many sales as you thought you might, or you're not getting the responses you thought you might, open rates, anything like that, is usually because the people have become, your audience has become disenfranchised with the relevance you have to what you're saying. So they're thinking, actually, every time this person emails me, it's not really about the stuff that I want to hear about. And so that's when we kind of became obsessed with segmentation and making sure we can target the message perfectly. So that's how it all became about. Literally, we needed to be able to do this in our business. In fact, Rob and I, neither of us are technical people. I know that we had a lot of discussions with people from the community already, and you'll realize that we are just entrepreneurs trying to do a thing, and we're trying to sell more of our products and stuff like that. And we built ResponseSuite because we needed a solution that allowed us to communicate in a much more effective and personalized way. So we built it right here in this very room, actually. Our developer built it right in this room in order to satisfy something we actually needed. And then we realized, by talking to some other people, they quite fancy doing the same sort of thing too. And then it became like a commercial thing. So it wasn't the kind of thing where either of us woke up one day and said, hey, let's
start a software business.
Because we know nothing about software, right? So we needed to build a piece of software. We needed to have somebody else build a piece of software that was so simple to use that even we could use it, and we're not that smart. But we also have this sort of challenge that we wanted to do some quite advanced stuff, but we didn't want to have to be super smart to be able to do that sort of stuff. So that's what we've sort of had as our goal of, if you can drag and drop stuff about, can you do some really advanced smart segmentation stuff so you can make sure you send the right content, the right offers, the right stuff to people every single time you communicate with them. So yeah, we're already obsessed with like email marketing and using various email marketing platforms, and there's a lot of them out there. So we wanted to connect directly with those things so that we can have a reliable connection with them. So because at the end of the day, if this stuff falls over, it's very, very time consuming. It's very challenging. Sometimes impossible to sort of do it all retrospectively. So it needs to happen on autopilot. It needs to happen reliably. There needs to be a direct connection from a survey platform into an email marketing platform. And that's kind of how this all began.
Mm-hmm. So what were the options available to you guys before ResponseSuite, or what were you using to kind of hack this together?
We actually used another survey platform, and we used to manually export the CSV file of responses every single day and then sort them into different CSV files, more than one CSV file. And then I wonder what the collective term for a
CSV file.
A gaggle of CSV files. And then we upload the gaggle of CSV files into our email platform. We've used them all really, Aweber, Infusionsoft, all of them. And then we would then tag them differently or put them on different lists based on what they said. So yeah, we were just doing loads of manual work and then eventually outsourced that to an assistant. But again, loads of money spent on it and lots of time consumed. And the problem is you can't do really advanced tagging that way. You can't say, if you've got 3 questions and each of those questions has 3 possible answers, well, now suddenly you've got 9, this sort of matrix of 9 options. And that suddenly becomes a real pain in the neck to do.
And the other problem is, if you're doing it manually like that, which you can do, people are going to fall through the cracks. It's going to happen because there's a time between the moment you downloaded that CSV file and then you sort of tag the next bunch of people. There's a bunch of time, and it's just remembering to do it. It's kind of boring, like, and you shouldn't have to do that. And if you have to have these things happen in real time, it means you can be more efficient with, you can do some follow-up by email within an hour of someone going through your survey or quiz, rather than having to wait till the next day when you've done that upload and tagging and all that sort of filtering and stuff. So
yeah. And what are y'all's respective backgrounds in digital marketing? So you've been doing this for 15 years. How'd you guys get started?
Well, our actual background is a little bit crazy. We're both actually from the world of entertainment. I'm a comedy stage hypnotist. Kennedy is a mind reader. So we both perform all over the world for events and venues and parties and that kind of thing. And we've been doing that for a long time. Still do that today. It's a lot of fun. But along the way, we got really bored of just sitting around in hotels and on planes and at departure lounges and all that stuff. And we both just wanted something else to do. We've been friends for like 18 years. And along the way, we both, that's how we met, through the world of entertainment. And we both independently started information publishing businesses. So I created online courses that taught other people hypnosis. You were teaching marketing to entertainers and magicians and all that kind of thing. And so we both once just crossed notes on it. And we said, look, I've been doing this thing. I've been doing email marketing, giving away free reports, building a list. And you were like, I've been doing the same thing. We just exchanged notes on it for a really long time. And we've been doing that for a few years, so that we built, off the back of that, we've built a number of different information product businesses in different niches. You have a very successful e-commerce business in a bizarre, obscure niche. Yeah, so and then we both have coaching and consulting programs, high ticket coaching and consulting programs. And then we came together to join forces, so it were, in order to create this.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, yeah, I think we should give people what they came for. If you guys want to hop into this walkthrough, sure people would love that. And I will turn my camera off to not be distracting.
We'll turn our camera off as well, because so
you can see full screen.
So you can see full screen. Yeah, we're not getting in your way then.
Right. And again, anybody who has any questions, feel free to drop those in that Q&A box as we're going through this. We'll circle back towards the end.
All righty.
Lovely stuff. We just had to adjust the stools there in order to be able to reach the keyboard. Good. It felt like something from like I was going to take.
I felt like I pressed the ejector seat just then. I was like,
oh,
tools to manual.
We turned the camera off too early, honestly. Okay, so let me go ahead and share the screen here. You should be able to see that if you can confirm.
Got it. Yep, coming through clear.
Okay, cool. So this is what's happened. We've just gone ahead and logged into our demo account. So you'll see lots of like demo words going on in here as we show you around. But this is what it looks like when you get into the dashboard. You'll see that at the top it says example.responsesuite.com. Basically, that would be your chosen subdomain. So, you know, AppSumo's account would probably be appsumo.responsesuite.com. When you sign up, you get to choose whatever you would like your subdomain to be, as long as it hasn't already been taken or we're not using it for anything. You can choose your company name, or it might be your name. Either of those options, whichever you prefer. And then from the dashboard, you'll see that our main navigation bar is over here on the left-hand side. So let's imagine we wanted to go ahead and create a new survey. It's as simple as clicking create. And then you've got three options. You can either create one brand new from scratch, you can duplicate one that you've already got, or you can build one from one of our existing templates, which you've got for a whole bunch of different things. So let's go ahead and choose the create from scratch option. We'll go ahead and we'll call this AppSumo demo. You can call it whatever you want. This is just for internal purposes. And then you can say, this is a survey to collect feedback about the AppSumo Response Suite webinar. So you can call that, again, it's just for your own purposes. You can say whatever you want to say there. And now you get to choose the purpose of the survey. So we've got a bunch of them here. We'll help you out differently depending on what you want to do with this. So let's imagine that this is going to be for segmenting your mailing list, which is the primary reason we create this in the first place. And now we go ahead and click create survey. So this takes us into the builder, our actual survey builder. You'll see we're on step 2 of this little 5-step process up here at the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start dragging some stuff together. So let's drag a question in first of all. And you can see we made it really drag and drop. So you just literally pick up a question, you bring it over here, drop it onto the canvas, and then you've got a question. So this question might be, how would you rate the quality of Rob and Kennedy's hair? And a big important question there. And now what we can do is we can decide, how do we want people to be able to answer that question? Well, let's imagine we want them to be able to rate it from 0 to 10 on one of these little slider ratings. The alternative to that would be one of these blocked rating options instead, but we'll go with this slidey thing. And we're going to say it could be terrible hair, or it could be excellent hair. There we go.
It's really important you can brand all these things as well. So let's say blue's not really your brand. So let's make sure you can do a lot of different branding options here. You can literally choose the color of pretty much every element inside the app. And we're often looking at things and going, oh, actually, wouldn't it be good if you could change the color of that? When we spot something, we tend to roll it out.
You obviously change this if you want it to be. We've given it a maximum of 15. We think that's a fairly reasonable number. So we'll keep it 1 to 10 for now. And then you can go ahead and move on to the next question. So let's drag another question in. Again, all very drag and drop. So this one might be, which of the following things do you most need help with?
In fact, just to speed up this process, now you've seen how it looks like from scratch. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at a survey we built sort of previously?
Here's one we made earlier stuff.
Yeah,
okay, I'll just jump out of that for a second.
Yeah.
Oops, that's the wrong thing I searched. There we go. Let's just grab one. This is the one we sort of use as a demo a lot. So this is, imagine we're in the fitness industry. So you'll see we've already made a whole bunch of customizations to this. We've put a photo, a big image in the header up here. Obviously that could be any color you want. It could be any image that you want. You can add your logo up there as well in the top right, or wherever you want it to be up there in the header section. You can also add a title here as well if you wanted to. And then you can see we've actually already built this. So we've got like a cover page already. With a progress bar to guide people through where they're at in the survey, a headline, we've put a photo in there, you can put an image, a video in there if you want to instead, a bit of copy, and then we've got some page breaks. So anywhere you want to put a page break, you can literally just drag a page break in over here from the left-hand side. And then you can go ahead and put 1 question to a page, 2 questions to a page, 1 million questions to a page, whatever you want to do. And different types of answers, as you can see. We've got that rating scale I mentioned before. We have these radio button options.
Classic.
We have these images. So you can literally just drag an image in. Let's imagine I wanted a 5th one for a minute. I can literally go ahead and say, I want to add another one of those. I want an image, and I want an image from a stock library, or you can upload your own. So we might say a
massive stock library that we connect with. Actually, it's 2 big stock image libraries.
Pixabay and Pexels. So I want a picture of a kangaroo. Go ahead, do that, and there we go. Got a picture of a kangaroo. You could, of course.
I consider a kangaroo my biggest obstacle.
Yeah,
it's a pretty bad day. Isn't it?
If you live in Australia, it could be.
It could be a big obstacle.
So you're going to go ahead and add whatever you want to do there. And then we've got some text fields like name or email address. There's date fields and star ratings and file upload choices. We've just added a new one, literally
Went live today,
where you can literally give them a button that they can choose from. So you can have a number of buttons and they just pick the one they like. Again, you can put videos on, terms and conditions boxes. So if you want them to agree to your terms and conditions before they can submit the survey, you can do that. You can break it into multiple columns, pretty much anything you want to do. Add spacing and all of that stuff. Once you're finished with the survey, so let's imagine this is the survey we're going to go with. We're very happy with that. We now move on to step 3 of the process, which is our settings. Here, there's a bunch of settings you can do, like you can turn off our branding if you want to. You can integrate your Facebook pixel. Hotjar, if you use Hotjar, the video tracking thing, you can go ahead and do that. Miles has said, is there a way to preview what the form is looking like at any point? You can actually just click this little yellow eye button, and that'll open it up as a preview. It pops a little bar across the top to tell you that you're in a preview.
Just so you don't get confused, because that really did happen.
That way you can see what it looks like. Yeah, we didn't have that at first, and then we got confused, so we added it. That's what that looks like. And then once you're done with that...
Just in the settings there, click on access there, Rob, because one of the things you can do is password protect those surveys if you're doing like a private or confidential thing, maybe for something you're doing.
Yeah. So that's that bit. Now, the next bit of this is now to hook up our email integrations. So we integrate natively with, I think it's like 13 email platforms at the moment, a bunch of email platforms. It's all on the AppSumo page, of course. And we're adding more of those all of the time. So let's imagine in this case that we're going to integrate this particular survey with MailChimp. I'm going to go ahead and click MailChimp and then click Connect. What that does is it's going to reach out to our MailChimp account, which we've hooked up on an account-wide level. So you would do that first. And now you're going to go ahead and hook up some of these fields. So you can pass as much or as little of the information from ResponseSuite into MailChimp or whatever as you want to. In this case, let's just set it so that it will send their first name from ResponseSuite into the first name of MailChimp, and their email address from ResponseSuite into the email address field in MailChimp. This is dead simple. On the left-hand side, you've got your ResponseSuite questions, and on the right-hand side, you've got your MailChimp fields. And all you've got to do is say, I want to put the answer to this question into this field, and the answer to this question into this field. And then that's done. Nice and easy for you. No messing about. If you want to, you can also put scoring onto your survey, so each of your answers can have a different sort of score. So you might say that one answer to one question is worth 1 point and so on and so forth. And then you can have it add up their score, and then you can calculate that score as a number or a percentage, or you can also have the maximum they could have scored. And you can pass all of that into a custom field inside MailChimp or whatever as well, which means that your email marketing platform can then follow up with them and it can give them their score as they go through. So that's the first step of integration. The second step is to go ahead and set up audiences and tags, or lists and tags, depending on what marketing platform you're using. So in this case with MailChimp, we can say that we want to put them onto a list which is called nutrition if their answer to the question, what is your biggest obstacle, is nutrition. And then we can apply different tags if we want to as well, like that. And then we can set up a new rule and say, but if their answer to that same question is in fact mindset, then we want to put them onto the list that's called mindset, and we want to maybe add a different tag. And then you can go ahead, or no tags if you want to. And then you go on, you'd add a different rule. So if their answer, I'll do one more. If their answer to that question is exercise, then you might want to put them onto the list that's called exercise. And you can keep going, add as many of these rules as you want to. The rules can be added either based on their answer to a particular question or based upon their score. So you might say if they scored between 12 and 20, then I want to put them on this list and apply this tag. If their score is this to this, then I want to put them on that. You can also do them based on percentages or most common and least common. That would allow you to do those kind of which princess are you type, or which Disney character are you type,
or which
service.
Product is most suitable to you.
Yeah. So, if you might be selling, a car, and you would ask, what's most important to you? And they would ask questions like size and comfort versus speed and luxury. And after the end of that, you can then decide which car is most appropriate for them. So that works really, really well as well. So once you've done all of those things, you would then go ahead. Oh, we've also got conditional logic, of course, a really simple way to build out conditional logic. So for example, if their answer to what is your main fitness goal is equal to the value of, let's say they say fat loss, then I want to hide a bunch of other questions. So it's very, very simple indeed. It's just like building a sentence out. If their answer to this question is equal to this answer, then make sure that you hide these questions.
And you can keep it as simple as you want, or you can get quite complex by adding that little plus in. So you can make it so that it's a cumulative compound effect. So if it's the answer of this one is equal to this, and or it's equal, this other thing is true as well. So you can stack those conditions up if you want to get a little bit more advanced, if that's your thing. But if you want to keep it simple, you can keep it simple too.
It basically, and the other nice thing about this is if you stack up loads of logic rules, because you can add as many as you want, if you are trying around different things and you want to test different things, you can actually very easily just turn off the rules and then they won't fire anymore. So rather than having to delete them and take screenshots and try and remember what you had set up, anytime you want to, you can just turn them off and then you can turn them back on when you're ready for those rules to run again. So very, very simple indeed, in order to be able to hide and show questions. So that if you said, do you have a dog or a cat? And somebody said dog, the next question wouldn't say, what is your cat's name?
That'd be bad.
So nice and simple to take them through a little choose their own adventure story. So that's the setting setup.
Yeah. So what happens once the person hits submit on your survey? Let's take a look at the thank you settings.
So at this point, in fact, I'm just going to delete everything we've currently got set up. So we're starting from scratch. There we go. This is what it would look like when you first set this up. And basically, you've got three options for the thank you page. You can either have it so it will stay on the page and it will just display a message. So that might say, thank you.
Literally just type any message in there you would like.
Taking the survey. And it'll just display that in a little pop-up window as soon as they click submit. The next option then would be to instead use your own URL. So you might want to take them to
AppSumo.
Like that. And again, you can have that. And then the third option would be to build your own thank you page. So we'll just call this thank you page 1. And then you can literally create the page. And it's drag and drop like we were before with the survey builder. I can go ahead and put a video in there, and that video can be just your own MP4 URL hosted on Amazon S3 or wherever you want to, or it can also be YouTube or Vimeo or Wistia. Just copy the URL directly in, and that will host that video on the page. That you can then set that video to be different widths, whatever width you want it to be.
Also, in there, you've got a whole bunch of elements as well as the video. You can add spacing and columns and put a button in there. So if you're going to make an offer right in that video on that thank you page, you can put any text you'd like on that button, change the color of the button and the font and all that sort of good stuff. And then you can choose where that button links to. So you can make an offer right there. Other things that are available on these thank you pages, you can show them the results of the survey. You can show them as a chart where you can drag different charts in to show quite simple reporting. And of course, if you are running a quiz or something like that, you might want to show somebody their score, which you can display in a number of pretty snazzy little ways here. as you can see just there. And again, you can customize all of those colors and stuff as well to make sure they're bang on brand. When you switch off the branding on a survey, you're also switching on that settings page that Rob showed you before, you're also switching off the branding on the thank you page for that survey as well. So it can be totally branded to you. And speaking of totally branded to you, let's talk about how you actually send people to one of these surveys once you've set all of that stuff up. As you've seen so far, all of these things are very simple to do. In fact, before we do progress, let's talk about how you choose who sees which thank you page or what happens after the survey. Rob?
Yeah. So basically, as you can see, you can do a combination of these things if you wanted to, or you could have a number of thank you pages you build, or you could use them all as your own URLs, or you can use them as all as little pop-up messages. So you have any combination of these at the same time. So at the minute, this is set to, so they're all always going to work, in which case it'll just work in priority order. So obviously you would never set it up like this. So what it might say is, I want to take them, I want to display this pop-up message if their answer to that question is fat loss, or if their score is between this and this, or if their score outcome was, you know, Princess Jasmine or whatever. And then what you can go ahead and do is you can set the rules for this one to be different. So in this case, if their main fitness goal wasn't fat loss, if their main fitness goal was muscle gain, then I want to take them to that URL. Whereas in this one, if their main fitness goal was whatever the third one was, training for an athletic event, I want to take them to the third option. And you can just keep adding as many of these page rules as you want to. Now, if you spend ages building out a really nice thank you page and you're really, really happy with it, you think, wow, that's great. I just need to make a small tweak, like I just need to change the video, or I need to change where the button takes them. You just go ahead and clone that page. You can see we instantly get a second version, and now we can just go ahead and make those little subtle changes. Just log in, change the video, change where the button goes, and you've got a new thank you.
So now at this point, when someone completes your survey, what you're able to do is you're able to tag them differently and put them on different lists in your email marketing system as soon as they hit submit. And when they hit submit, you're also able to take them to a different thank you page and show them a different message based on those things, which means you can show them the right offer, the right message, the right video, send them to the right page, whatever it's going to be based on exactly what they chose in the survey. So now let's go ahead and take a look at how you share these fantastic surveys.
So far we have created the survey, gave it a name, we built it in the survey builder, we set up the settings like integrations, we've now set up the thank you page, and now we're on to the last one, as Kennedy said, for sharing it. Now, the first thing you would do is you would turn the survey on, because by default we'll leave it turned off until you're finished with it. As soon as you turn that survey on, you've now got a number of different options for sharing it. The first one is to copy and paste the URL to the survey itself. So that would just be this URL here. If you want to, you'll see this extra piece of code on the end. That's if you want to send somebody who's already on your mailing list a copy of the survey and you want to pre-populate some of their fields, like their email address, so they don't have to type their email address in again. You can do that, and that's why that's there. But this is the sort of standard link to the survey. So if I was to go ahead and copy that link and then open a new tab and paste it in there, that will take us to the survey. Our internet is a little bit slow. There we go.
That's because we've got the Zoom thing open, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. So here we are. This is what it would look like. This is like the live version of the survey. People can go ahead and click through now and start answering the questions. So I'm going to rate this as a number 6, and then I'm going to choose this option, so on and so forth.
And they can do all that from that URL there, which is your subdomain, your personalized subdomain, .responsesuite.com.
So that'd be your company name or your name.responsesuite.com/that. If you want to, you can give it a friendlier URL. So you'll see we've just called this one /fitness-quiz. So then that would be the URL I'd take people to, and both of those function simultaneously. And then the second option is to embed this on your own web page. So you'll see we've got this single line of JavaScript here. You can just copy and paste that one line of code, paste it onto anything. It pastes onto WordPress, it pastes onto your website, wherever you want to put it.
Those fancy page builders you might have, works on those.
Yeah, any of the page building softwares. Now, the only exception to that would be if for whatever reason you've got a website that blocks you from using JavaScript.
There's not many of them these days.
It's very unusual. Maybe if it's something you've had custom built or whatever, then you won't be able to use this one, but you can use this one instead, and then that will get you the same end result. You can, of course, also have it so that it will pre-populate their fields, even if the survey is embedded on your own website. You just need to pop this on the end of the URL that you send people to. Of course, we can help you with all of that. We've got tutorials on everything as well. Once you've done that, you're done. We've taken you from sort of end to end on how you can start a survey and take you all the way through to completion. So you've got the published survey, you can pop it out on the internet, and then this is what it would look like. Again, I'll just quickly whiz through and finish it off, pop my name and email address in. I would hit submit, which I can't do until I've filled in those fields because they're required. And then boom, you've submitted the survey and you are done.
So there we go.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We
That's
lost
awesome.
it. No, we've been talking to ourselves.
No, I'm still here. So you guys ready to do some Q&A?
Sure,
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, let's dive into it. Okay, so the first one I'm seeing is Mike Austin. Is there a way to preview what that form will look like at any point?
Yeah, so just at any point during the builder, you can just hit the little yellow eye and it'll just pop open in a new tab for you. You can take a look at it. We pop that preview bar at the top so that you know you're in a preview mode. The other thing that happens when you're in preview mode is you'll see that down here in the bottom left, it's actually tracking because I've got scoring on this survey, it's actually tracking my scoring as I go. So if I choose different options, that's going to affect my score differently. This wouldn't appear for a live viewer. This is just you can test out the scoring logic as you go through. So yeah,
that's cool. Nice. Cool. Barb, I see you asking. Yes, there will be a replay sent out later this afternoon for you in case you missed anything or want to go back through it. All right. Cynthia is asking, how does this compare to Interact or Bucket.io?
Cool. So it's one of those things where we're very careful before we would start comparing ourselves to other platforms. We're not in those platforms all the time and we can't talk about them that much. We know that
we prefer ours.
We prefer ours. That's true. Ours is really built in order to be able to run full-blown surveys rather than those quizzes. Obviously, it can do those front-end lead generation quizzes, but it's built to have the power and flexibility to do full surveys. I know that some of the other platforms out there, including those two, are a little bit more limited in terms of the type of questions you can ask.
A lot of the platforms were designed for one particular type of funnel, whereas we decided that we're actually built as a platform that you can apply funnels to. So rather than being locked into one way of doing things, you've got a bit more flexibility to use surveys and quizzes in different points in your business. And so they always don't look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally fair. All right. Let's see. What are some other good questions we got in here? All right. Miles is asking, which autoresponders do you have direct integration with in addition to MailChimp and ActiveCampaign? For instance, do you have it with SendFox?
So we don't at the moment, but it is off the back of the AppSumo launch. It is actually now on our list of things that we're gonna be doing soon. So our current integrations are ActiveCampaign, Aweber, ConvertKit, Drip, GetResponse, HubSpot, Infusionsoft, Intercom, MailChimp, Entreport, Pipedrive, SendLane, and Zoho. And then if we don't integrate with yours directly, or you use some sort of self-hosted solution, you can actually just use a custom HTML form. So if you create a little form in your autoresponder, you can copy and paste that form code into your survey, into the back-end integration section, and then you can do it that way. So if we don't integrate with yours through the API, that's a way to do it until we do.
Absolutely. Beautiful. And remember, you can always submit suggestions for integrations, and they are coming up. So we're hearing that one quite a bit, and there's another one we've heard quite a bit this week as well. So they're quite high up on our priorities to get done for you. In terms of integration, just while we're talking to everybody, one of the things we've heard a lot from Sumo is that they love the fact that we integrate with storage solutions. So if you drag an answer type into a survey, which is, hey, upload something here, it could be a photograph or a document or something, rather than you have to log into ResponseSuite again to find that document, why don't we just send it to the storage solution that you prefer? So that's why we integrate with Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, and OneDrive. So when people drop a document or an image or a PDF or whatever it is onto your survey, that goes straight into your Box, Dropbox, or wherever the heck it's going to be. So that goes straight in there.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, yeah, let's see. I guess Teresa's asking a similar thing. Is it possible to send survey responses to a Google Sheet? I currently have a Zap set up to send responses from JotForm as a new row in a Google Sheet that can then send an email to a printer that sends out physical DM postcards for me. I could also eliminate that JotForm, but I guess, yeah, I wanted to send all of your results using Zapier to a Google Sheet.
So we integrate with stuff directly rather than through Zapier because we prefer it as a direct connection. We don't want any possibility of stuff falling over. Google Sheets is very high up on our list of things. We actually consider it a productivity tool, and we're integrating with a bunch of those like Asana and Trello and Slack. And Google Sheets falls onto that row for us, that productivity lineup. So that's actually in our roadmap for the next few months. So not right now, but it is confirmed on our roadmap as coming.
Awesome. And Marie is throwing up some requests to integrate with Sendinblue as well.
Cool. We'll definitely add it to our list. Basically, any customer that requests it, that will get put onto our roadmap. We discuss it around. Other users can upvote it as an option, and then we look at it and associate it with our business and where we're at, and we look to get everything done as easily as possible.
But in the meantime,
Awesome.
like you want to take advantage of this deal, because obviously it's an amazing deal that we put together thanks to the folks at AppSumo. Remember, if your system, even if we don't integrate by API right now, if you can generate a HTML form code, which you can on pretty much all
The
of
kind
these
of thing you'd
systems,
stick on your web page for people to opt in through.
yeah, that copy and paste code that you normally paste onto a web page, you can paste that right into ResponseSuite, and ResponseSuite will work some magic in the background instantly to make it something that we actually push it straight through that form code for you. So you could actually still get, I don't want you to miss out on the deal if you're thinking this would really work for you. If it's just an integration thing, if you can make a form code, then you could really take advantage of this.
Yeah, this is a super cool tool. I'm really excited about this. Want to play around with it myself, because I've been talking with another person about potentially putting together she has a course where she teaches people how to use like surveys and online quizzes as part of that onboarding segmentation from Facebook ads or something like that, driving people to this. And she's done very well with it. So I think this is definitely something I would recommend to Sumo Links to play around with and check out. It's super cool. And you guys are getting props. Miles is saying, great answer. I'm in. Super excited about this. All right, Sherman is asking, how many places can I send the test results to participants when finished?
How many places can I send?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that's asking. Maybe you have a better idea.
About the thank you page. If that's right, correct me if I'm wrong, buddy, but I think
maybe, yeah, I guess how many different options for results can you have?
Unlimited. So if you had like 400 possibilities of things that you could send them to, if you can be bothered to make that many thank you pages, you can do it. You don't limit it whatsoever. So if there are literally a lot of configurations, you can set up that thank you page. It's called Smart Thank You Pages, and you can set it up to as many redirects as you would like. Just obviously, when you get into that, you just obviously want to be a little bit careful on making sure the logic of that works, but we can help you.
So let me, this is a question for me. Where do you recommend people get started, or is there a framework? Say you're starting a business, or you have, let's say, 1,000 people on your email list, and you're looking to grow it. You're looking to get the segmentation going. How should somebody start? I know there's the ask formula, which I was reading, a couple of years ago. That was a big thing people were doing. Is there a place you recommend for? Because there's a lot going on here. How does somebody just get up and running right away and know that like what they're putting together is solid enough for an MVP?
Okay, so there's two different ways. One of them is a lead generation thing, and one of them is something we call the alpha survey. So, Rob, you want to talk about the alpha survey first?
Yeah. So this is going to be to pick up on your example of somebody who's maybe got a list of 100 or 1,000 or a million people.
Yeah, and then what I'll do afterwards is I'll give you an example for people who are wanting to get started and really building their list from scratch or much lower.
That's the hardest part for a lot of people. That 0 to 1. How do you get those first 100 people on your list?
Well, I'll give you a campaign that allows you to do that. Rob, first of all, do you want to talk to everybody who's got maybe a bit of a larger list?
Yeah, cool. So this works for something that you can do to your existing list as like a broadcast set of emails, but also you can build it in for new people who are joining your list, maybe through a webinar or an opt-in bribe or something like that. Basically, what happens is within a few hours or a day of somebody joining your email list, you would send them a sequence of emails with a link to a survey in it. And again, you can do this as a one-off broadcast initially just to get it going to your existing list. And we call it the alpha survey. The idea is that it's really just to segment your list, find out a bit more about them, and then make the perfect offer to all of those people straight away. So what happens is you would probably ask 3 questions, and we'll help you put the questions together. Probably like 3 questions, and they tend to revolve around these 3 things. Question number 1 would be, who are you? Where are you at in your journey? The second question would be around the sort of area of what's your biggest struggle with this topic right now? So let's imagine you teach, I don't know, salsa dancing. What's your biggest struggle with salsa dancing right now? And then the third question would be, where would you like to be one day? What's your big aspiration? And then you ask for their name and their email address. And again, if they're already on your list, you don't actually have to ask for that. We can just pass it through invisibly in the background. So now what happens really nicely, people go ahead, they fill in that quick survey, and they're instantly segmented on your list. You can now send them the right follow-up sequence of emails to send them the right thing, rather than just having them join your list today and go through a sequence of 12 emails about one thing, and then 12 emails about another thing, and then 12 emails about a third thing, and then 12 emails about a fourth thing, ad infinitum, until eventually they happen to stumble upon the thing they're interested in, if they haven't unsubscribed or disengaged by that point, which as we know, or died, which as we know, most people will have either, well, hopefully disengaged and unsubscribed rather than died.
Sure.
But one of those two things. What happens instead is somebody fills out the survey, and the first sequence they get is directly about the thing they're interested in. Not only that, of course, but the moment you take them to the thank you page, if you want to, you can make them an offer right there and then, rather than just hoping they're going to be interested in the first thing that you want to sell. So for us, the first big win, if you've already got a list, would be to throw together a quick survey. Should take you less than 20 minutes, certainly less than an hour. If you were going really slow at it, it would take you about an hour maybe. And then you would take that, you can copy the URL, send out a few emails to your existing list and get them segmented inside your autoresponder or your email platform straight away. And then you can build it in so that everyone new who comes into your list through whatever your current list building mechanism is, they go through that over a few days after joining.
And that allows you to make sales much faster because you give them more relevance. And it really is about relevance. Let's say you're a bit early on in your journey and you haven't really got out the gates yet. Don't worry about that either, because one of the big frustrations most people have who are further on in that journey, who perhaps already have a list, is they wish they had more information about their subscribers. Because if they knew more about the tastes and the desires and the current challenges that each of their subscribers is facing, then we absolutely know we'd be able to serve them better, make them more attractive offers, and ultimately for ourselves, make more sales. So a really good way of, look, how many times have you gone to a website and you've seen, give us your email address and you can have this free PDF. And if you're anything like me and most of the world right now, you'll know that you're a bit more resistant than you've ever been, probably a lot more resistant than you've ever been about giving your email address in exchange for a free PDF download or for that new white paper or that report, because we know what's going to happen. And the other thing is about that is it's not really serving one of the most compelling things that social media has bred into current society. Psychologically speaking, we are now, as a populace, we are now more obsessed with ourselves than we ever have. How much do we check on how many likes or hearts or reactions we've got to that latest post we put on Instagram and social media, right? That's what we're obsessed with. So if that's the world that we're living in, then serving people's self-interest is the single most effective way of bringing people into your business and bringing them onto your list. So what you can do is put together what you've seen of these quizzes as the reason to join your list. So what you want to do is you want to break down what it is you do into why is it people might be joining my list, and put together a front-end survey which looks like one of those quizzes in order to find out what people know about themselves and how you can help them. And that's really simple in terms of you put together a couple of questions. Your first question might be, which of these describes your current situation? Very similar questions to what Rob just suggested there. So what's your current situation? Are you a beginner? Are you intermediary? Are you quite experienced in my world? And what is your biggest challenge? Oh, okay. So therefore, I'm now going to find out a bit about myself in a bit like one of those, which kind of princess quizzes you are way. And now people are joining your list to find out a bit about themselves. Oh, my biggest weakness in my business is my cash flow, or I really need to figure out my dietary requirements if you're in the fitness niche, or whatever it might be for your industry. I mean, you already know what those things are because you already know about the thing that you teach. You know the types of ways that you help people. So the idea is that at the end of that quiz, they're going to have told you some information about them, which allows you to segment them, pushing that information automatically into your email marketing system, thanks to ResponseSuite. And then you're going to be able to offer them the thing that will help them the most. And of course, on that thank you page, you can tell them what they need to focus on and then make an offer straight away. What's one of the most challenging things to do for all of us in online business or offline business, just in business generally, is making that first sale. And the reason making the first sale is the most challenging thing is, one, you've already spent money, you've already invested in getting that person to your list, whether that's with traffic or time to get that traffic to your opt-in, or to the tools that allow you to get that opt-in. And we want you to get the return on all the investments you've been making all these years as quickly as possible. Because look at how much time you've been wasting, never mind the money, right? So what you want to do is you want to get a return on that investment soon. So imagine if on that thank you page, you make them the perfect offer based on the thing they really need right now. Not on what most people need, but based on what they exactly need, based on their circumstance and their current challenge. So you're going to get the fastest return on that. And then every email you send to them in the future, because you've segmented them and tagged them and put them on the right lists from that survey as well, you're going to be able to send them the most relevant offers. So your value per subscriber is going to be much higher than average.
Awesome. And you guys call that first one is the alpha survey. And what's the second one?
It's a lead generation quiz.
A lead generation quiz. And are there any good resources for this if you want to follow up on it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so actually with included, I don't think we advertise this, maybe we do, I don't know.
Surprise!
Included with it, you actually get access to something called the Survey Marketing Masterclass. It's a 4-part video training that we did. When we did it, we actually sold it for $497. It's not on sale at any price right now, but we're actually including it for all Sumolings when they join up. It's actually just inside the app itself. On the left-hand side, if you look down, there'll be an option that says, there is an option that says training on the dashboard. And when you get in there, you can go ahead and watch that. So it's a 4-part course, and we teach 8 different survey applications. That's 2 of them. The lead gen quiz and the alpha survey are 2 of them. The others are things like membership sites, webinars, high-ticket coaching, and various others.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right, we got a couple minutes left, so we can do a couple rapid fire questions, get people some answers.
Sure.
All right, is there a way to send test results directly to someone's email?
So the way that we do that actually is that we want you to get the best possible delivery on your email, and email delivery is really hard. So what we do is we get you to set it up so that you pass all of your answers to all of your questions across into your email platform like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp or whatever, and then have it put them into an automated sequence where they will send out where you'll send out the email with those results in it. So you can have it, our system will send you an email with their results if you want one, but for the users, we get a much better result by passing that information into MailChimp and stuff, your CRM or email platform, which is where you actually want it.
And it also means that you could use that information in the future. So it's not trapped inside of your survey tool anymore. It's actually useful to you where you actually interact with your customers and your subscribers, which is in your marketing platform. Also,
awesome.
Not just the fields that you pass over, you can also pass their scores over as well. So you can merge that right into an email you send them and use that ongoing rather than just being a one-hit wonder.
Super cool. Super cool. All right. Fatima is asking if I wanted to host a survey on my domain, is that possible?
So the way you do that is really by just grabbing that code, that single line of code on the thank you on the share page there, and embedding it on any page on your domain that you would like. So if you're using WordPress, Fatima, you can literally just paste it on there, and boom, it'll have your branding all over. But you can dress that page up however you like, and you'll have all the power of ResponseSuite sitting right there.
Super easy. Nice. All right. Is there examples of live surveys that we can check out to view them?
Yeah, so basically this is our current ResponseSuite style. We're actually rolling out some different themes as we enter the new year. But at the moment, this is what it looks like. Obviously, this image in the background of these guys in the gym, that can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a flat color, which is what most people do. You can, of course, also change that so that it's an image like this one. You can add your logo up here in the top left, and you can add a header, a title, and a subtitle up here as well. But fundamentally, in terms of the actual look and feel of it, this is what it would look like. You can, however, customize it. You can say, I want a progress bar. I don't want a progress bar. The progress bar can be steps like this or a solid percentage bar. It can be any color that you want it to be, etc. So this is the sort of general look and feel of how it's going to look. Yeah.
Great. Cool. Mark is asking, can this be used to categorize people into personality types based on their responses so that they get a page that says your type B personality, for example?
Oh, okay. Really simple way to do that is, let's say you've got 4 personality types. If you're using something like the DISC method, right? The DISC model, which is a common one. But if you've got 4 personality types, what you'll do is when you're creating your potential answers to each question, you'll usually have a question with 4 different possible answers. And what you'll do is, let's just say, potential answer number 1 they would choose, you'll give that a value of 1. The second one, you'll give a value of 2. The third one, 3, and the fourth one, 4. Then on the next question, you'll mix those up so that you might have 4, 1, 3, 2. And then what you'll do is you'll use the, what do we actually call it? If you do go to their score there, Rob, and you do it based on
most common,
the most common, then you can take them to the thank you page. So if they got their most common answer was number 3 type personality type, that's just your internal number, that number 3. That means that might be the, I can't even think what the different ones are, but let's say it's outgoing person. There is a name for that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But gregarious type person. Then you will take them to the gregarious page if their most common answer is that they are number 3, for example. You can also do the opposite, which is where people need the most help. So they might choose that they're really good at all these different things, but you might show the least common one. So you say, actually, it looks like the missing piece of the puzzle, the missing part of your life, the missing piece of your business or your fitness is this one. So you can do both of those, both sides of that proverbial coin.
That's great. Beautiful. Well, that is all the time we have for questions now. This was a great walkthrough. I think people really appreciate it. They're excited about the tool. I appreciate you guys hopping on and bringing this deal to the community. It's super sweet. So for all the Sumolings on here, you can check out ResponseSuite. It's on AppSumo right now, just appsumo.com/ResponseSuite. Again, it's all backed by the AppSumo 60-day guarantee. So feel free to set it up, play around with it, get some of these surveys and quizzes going, seeing what kind of results it will deliver for you, and let us know how that goes. And if you have any questions or concerns, please hit us up. I imagine you can also hit up the ResponseSuite team as well if you have any further questions. But Rob, Kennedy, thank you guys. Do you have any last things to say before we hop off?
No, our pleasure. It's been great.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks, Sumolings, for hopping on here. Rob and Kennedy, have a great night. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks.
All right, take care. Bye-bye, everyone.